What's the wildest reason someone ever called the police on you? I was 23 when Mrs. Kowalski decided I was running a drug operation out of my garage. I just moved back to my hometown after college, living in the small house my grandpa left me. The garage had been converted into a workshop, and I'd been using it to restore vintage electronics, old radios, record players, that sort of thing. Decent side hustle while I looked for a real job. The problem was my schedule. I worked nights at a warehouse, coming home around 7 a.m. and tinkering until afternoon. To Mrs. Kowalski, my 60-something neighbor who watched everything, this looked suspicious as hell. She started with passive-aggressive comments. "Awful lot of people coming and going from your place," she'd say when I checked the mail. "Just customers picking up their repairs," I'd explain. But Mrs. Kowalski had made up her mind. In her world, no legitimate business involved college-aged people showing up at weird hours carrying mysterious boxes. Things escalated when my friend Rico started helping me. Rico looked exactly like suburban paranoia imagined a drug dealer would look. Heavily tattooed, lowered Honda with tinted windows, always wore a backward cap. In reality, he was a computer science major who helped me diagnose circuit problems. One Tuesday morning, I was testing a restored 1960s radio when Mrs. Kowalski marched over. "I know what you're really doing in there," she announced. "Fixing radios?" I suggested. "Don't play dumb with me. I've seen the signs." Apparently the signs included people arriving with boxes, weird electronic noises, chemical smells, and visitors leaving quickly. "I'm calling the police," she threatened. "Go ahead," I said. "They can see my business license." She did call. Officer Martinez showed up an hour later, looking annoyed. "Mrs. Kowalski filed a complaint about drug activity," he said. I showed him everything. Workbenches with vintage electronics, boxes of components, repair manuals. "This is definitely not a meth lab," he said, picking up a 1950s tube radio. "Can you fix this?" It was my dad's. After Officer Martinez left with his dad's radio, I thought the matter was settled. I was wrong. Mrs. Kowalski's next theory was that I was running stolen goods. When that didn't stick, she decided I was operating an illegal gambling den. Each time, she'd call the police with increasingly creative accusations. The breaking point came during my cousin Tyler's visit. Tyler was 19, loud, and thought it was hilarious that my neighbor suspected me of being a criminal mastermind. "Dude, we should totally mess with her," he suggested. Against my better judgment, I agreed to one harmless prank. That evening, Tyler and I staged a fake drug deal in my driveway. We used bags of flour, spoke in exaggerated whispers, and kept looking around nervously. "Did you bring the stuff?" I asked loudly. "Yeah, man. This is pure Colombian," Tyler replied, holding up flour. We saw Mrs. Kowalski's curtains flutter. 20 minutes later, 3 squad cars surrounded my house. Mrs. Kowalski had been recording us. When officers realized we were holding flour and hamming it up like amateur actors, they were not amused. "Ma'am," Officer Martinez explained to Mrs. Kowalski, "this young man runs a legitimate electronics repair business. We've checked multiple times." "But I have video evidence," she protested, waving her phone. The sergeant reviewed her footage. 2 idiots pretending to be drug dealers with kitchen ingredients. "Mrs. Kowalski," he said patiently, "this is harassment. If you call about this address again without legitimate cause, you'll be cited." The next morning, I found a plate of cookies on my doorstep with a note. "Sorry." The Colombian flour joke was pretty funny. Mrs. K. She never called the police on me again, but she did become my best customer. Turns out she had a collection of vintage kitchen radios that needed restoration. Rico still can't believe a little old lady thought he was a drug dealer. I was wearing a Star Trek shirt. He reminds me whenever the story comes up. Mrs. Kowalski moved to Florida last year, but still sends Christmas cards addressed to the electronics guy, not a drug dealer.